Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Casual Movie Club. This is the podcast where a couple of bros enjoy a couple of brews and talk about a movie for your listening enjoyment. As always, I'm your host, Brian, and with me, as always, as well, is my co-host, John.
Hey! What's up, everybody? How are you?
We're chilling. How are you, John?
I am very good.
Very good?
I'm feeling great. I got just the right amount of a buzz going, and it's a great day, man.
Are you living every moment?
I am loving every day.
Do that, because before you know it,
It's all going to slip away.
Your precious time will slip away.
That's right.
And if you don't recognize that song by REO Speedwagon, well, shame on you.
Well, go on Spotify and listen to it.
Broaden your horizons, why don't you?
I mean, REO Speedwagon, their vocal harmonies, on point. On point.
This could be an REO Speedwagon podcast.
They are the 80s Rascal Flatts, okay? In terms of vocal production.
Oh,
vocal harmonies.
That's a conversation. I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. I mean, two different genres. I'll give it that, but their vocals are on point, just like Rascal Flatts.
Well, the reason I'm bringing up REO Speedwagon is because that is the song that was featured at the end of the movie that John and I just watched, and the lyrics.
What movie was that?
The lyrics really encompass the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
And that movie was none other than 2013's Grown Ups 2. Starring Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Kevin James,
Salma Hayek,
Maya Rudolph, David Spade, Nick Swartzen,
The Lonely Island,
Steve Buscemi,
or however the hell you say it,
Colin Quinn, Shaq,
Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh man, what a movie this was.
Yeah, I mean, all-star cast. And actually, one of the notes I wrote down was, like, as people were coming on screen, I was like, this cast just keeps getting better and better.
The cameos are flying. John Lovitz, Milo Ventimiglia as one of the blonde frat boys who was doing the handshake.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
I know we got to get into the movie, but I was dying, man, when Stone Cold is like, he's getting spoon-fed like Jell-O or whatever, and he's just single-handedly punching the frat boys as they run up to him.
Literally single-handedly. He was using one arm to
not even giving a fuck about anything. He's letting his wife spoon-feed him, and he's just like, boom, 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 just like smacking the frat boys that are running up to him.
Oh, man. Like, this movie. So, obviously... we have opinions about this movie,
yes.
And I want to know.
Do we really?
Judging from your reaction, we talk about My Poker Face every week. I want to ask you, John, did you enjoy this movie?
See, you're the only one that thinks you got a poker face, but let me tell you.
Lay it on me.
I loved it.
I knew it.
I loved it. Now, it does come with a caveat. This is what I believe to be the perfect background movie. Because if you are looking for, a compelling story and something that's really going to grip you and anything like that, this is not the movie for you. This is the kind of movie you throw on when you've got friends over, you're drinking, maybe playing some cards or playing, Jenga or whatever. This is the movie you throw on in the background, because when you look up at the screen, something's going to be going on that'll crack you up. So, Brian's just nodding.
I'm nodding, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this is also the kind of movie where you may just look at the screen at one point and go, what the fuck is going on? Like at the very beginning, there's a deer in Adam Sandler and Salma Hayek's bedroom. There's a deer.
And it pees.
Well, yeah. It pees on them. It pees on their older son in the shower. But there's a deer.
That's how it opens.
in the bathroom.
Yeah.
What is that? But before we get into that, and I'm assuming, I mean, you asked me what I thought of the movie. I'm assuming you enjoyed it.
I did not. I don't like this movie at all.
You are full of shit.
I would
you are
not.
Full of it.
This movie is a gift to you because I typically pick movies. My surprise movies are not to your taste. They're off. They're awful.
I was expecting Memento.
And I would love to watch that movie and discuss it with you for the show, but
No.
I know that
No.
that's not your speed of movie.
Yeah, because the last time I think the last time you did a surprise movie was whatever that the one that took place in New York. It was really dark and fucked up.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, I think that was the last surprise movie you did, and
that was a long time ago.
I needed like twice as much alcohol as I had in my house in order to like survive after that movie.
Yeah.
So let me just say, by the way, at this being a gift, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you didn't like it?
This is my least favorite type of movie. This is my least favorite type of comedy. I would not watch this movie again on purpose. I would not recommend this movie.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. I don't like Adam Sandler. I don't like this movie. This movie feels like an excuse for him because the story is loose.
The story is stupid.
The story is stupid, and
Right.
I don't like stupid.
Okay, that's fair.
Well,
fair.
no, wait. Let me qualify that. There's
Please,
a certain level of stupid that I can get away with.
Yeah.
And this movie, it's over the top stupid for me. It's too zany. I wrote this down several times, but this movie feels like a cartoon come to life.
I could see that.
And I mean, there are other movies that are similar to this that I do like, so maybe I'm a little hypocritical about this, but like Anchorman, for example, is one that, well, it doesn't have the kooky zaniness that this has. I don't know, John. I don't like this movie. And
I'm really surprised that you picked that. That you picked this as your surprise movie because it was something you didn't like. I'm kind of surprised at that.
I've seen this movie a couple times before, and it's really only been on TV showings.
Okay.
I didn't see this in theaters, but I've seen this movie enough times that I know what it is. I know what it's about, and it's not for me. I am not the audience for this movie.
Interesting.
I do like comedies. I do like them.
Okay.
It's just I don't think this style of comedy is for me.
So want to know something funny?
What?
I am not the audience for this movie either.
But you love it.
I enjoyed it though, probably because I had a nice little buzz going on. I was in a great mood. I was relaxed. It was when I saw that when I first saw that, because for those who are unaware, this was Brian's surprise movie this week. So I didn't know what it was until he started playing the movie. And when I saw Happy Madison, I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be funny because typically, I mean, I like what Adam Sandler's production company's been putting out. Like Billy Madison, and did he do Tommy Boy also?
He did, yeah.
Okay, Tommy Boy, and then Black Sheep. Like, I think that stuff is funny. It's not the kind of movie that I would watch sober on like a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. But, if I'm having friends over or if I'm just kind of want to relax and have some booze or something and just hang out and relax and not have to think about anything, I would totally throw a movie like this on.
This is the conversation I wanted to have with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I believe that Adam Sandler, there's a point in his career where he stopped giving a shit. And
Go on.
So, in my opinion, Adam Sandler, and this is a controversial opinion, but it's my opinion, I think Adam Sandler was great in Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
When he spun off to do his own thing, his own movies, I thought he was fantastic.
Like Billy Madison?
Billy Madison. I
Happy
love
Gilmore?
classic comedies.
Yes.
At some point in his career, he started making shit movies.
Yes.
And the style of humor, I think, stayed the same,
Agreed.
but the quality of humor dropped off.
Right, and I mean, a lot of that's also going to have to do with the script writing, but Adam Sandler's delivery of that type of thing has always been kind of the same. He's sort of always, in a way, he kind of always plays the same character.
He does in those comedy movies, but however, Adam Sandler has a much larger range than that.
Right.
Have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
No.
One of his first serious roles that I've ever seen him, and it's
Really?
like it's a crazy art house film. The color, the cinematography is kind of strange and
I'm surprised you
abstract.
didn't pick that one.
I would love to watch that with you, but I
Yeah.
don't think you'd like it.
Okay.
It's
That's a discussion for, off the air.
But my point stands, though, is that was a really well-regarded performance by him.
Yeah.
And then more recently, this is February 2020 that we're recording this.
Right.
He just did the movie Uncut Gems.
Right.
And it's lauded as one of his best performances
Yeah.
to date, to the point where people were upset that he was robbed of nominations and awards at the Golden Globes and the Oscars and the SAG and stuff.
Oh, wow.
People were upset that this movie Uncut Gems wasn't nominated for more on the back of Adam Sandler's performance alone.
Interesting.
Have you seen the movie Funny People?
No.
That's a Judd Apatow produced, directed, I think, starring
Okay.
Adam Sandler. But it's Adam Sandler as a comedian. It kind of parallels his life in some respects.
Okay.
Where he recognizes that, I have this zany movie career and people expect me to act a certain way, but
Right.
I'm more than that.
Right.
I'm more than that, and I'm getting depressed because people don't see me more than that.
People don't take him seriously.
People don't take him seriously, and those three movies, Punch Drunk Love, Funny People, and Uncut Gems, to me is proof that Adam Sandler is a phenomenal writer and actor and comedian. But then he does things like the fucking Netflix movies that he did, where it's just garbage movies.
Have you seen Jack and Jill?
I've not seen Jack and Jill, and
It
I'm
is awful.
not looking forward to it. But
It is awful. We need to do it on the podcast.
we do need to do that on another podcast. But my point is, there's a point where he stopped giving a shit.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, he'll just throw out a phenomenal performance. It's like, there's the Adam Sandler I want.
Right. I mean, it seems like he's doing some of these just for the paycheck kind of thing.
Or
And we've seen that with other actors too.
yes, doing it as a paycheck, but
Right.
also doing it as an excuse to get his friends together and just hang out with him while he phones in a performance.
Right. But he can nail it no matter what movie he's doing. He still does a
Is he
decent
nailing
job.
it? Is he nailing it?
Okay, maybe nailing it's a little extreme, but he does a decent job.
I did not like Adam Sandler in this movie.
Really?
He objectified his wife at every drop of the hat, didn't care about her feelings, and she was written like she was a two-dimensional person also.
I wasn't buying Salma Hayek playing that role.
No!
I would have expected kind of some no name to play his wife's role. But, Salma Hayek, I think, is too well known or too high profile of an actress to have that kind of a supporting role again, alongside someone like Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I could almost see Cheryl Hines playing his wife.
Cheryl Hines, who is Cheryl?
She was in Curb Your
the
Enthusiasm.
blonde. Yeah,
Yeah.
Larry David's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, someone like she's not on the same level as like Salma Hayek and I can't think of her name, but she's also has a really thick accent and God, what's her name?
Not Salma Hayek.
No, she's
Modern Family?
She's a Latina.
Sofia Varga.
Yes.
Yes.
You're like she's kind they're kind of on a similar level, but like Cheryl Hines is a little bit on a lower level. Maybe she's like a B-list celebrity or something.
A-minus
or
celebrity?
A-minus list. I don't know what the lists are, but
Cheryl Hines is pretty big from Curb, and she's been in a lot of stuff.
but she's not like she doesn't get the same kind of level billing as like a Tommy Lee Jones or like a Brad Pitt or a George Clooney or a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're coming
Or
from.
Julia Roberts,
Yeah.
So like I could see her as playing that role, someone that's not as well known, but someone that's still, someone would, a viewer could see her and say, oh, I saw her in Curb Your Enthusiasm, or oh, I saw her in this. But like Salma Hayek, I'm just surprised that she took a role like this.
Yeah, but then again, I'm surprised that a lot of people that took roles for this movie, like Shaq showed up to this.
Shaq did it because he'll do anything.
That you got a fair point. But
I feel like he'll do anything.
Steve Buscemi also. Taylor Zane or Taylor, not Taylor Dane. What the fuck? Come on, Taylor to my heart. Taylor, the guy from Twilight, the werewolf.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name, but Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner.
Yeah.
There you go. But then you got like crazy, weird cameos. Like Patrick Schwarzenegger was in this movie.
This movie was rife with cameos.
So many
And
cameos.
I even asked you, because I know on a previous episode we talked about cameos, and I was wondering if you picked this movie because of the copious amounts of cameos.
No.
But that would have been funny if you did.
It would have been funny, yeah. But this is, again, this is that movie I've been thinking about for a long time, and it's because it's so joke filled. It was hard to keep up with the amount of jokes in this. Good jokes, though.
Yeah.
There were a lot of good, well-written jokes, but they didn't have time to marinate.
A lot of
either.
the stuff Chris Rock said I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
I wrote down a couple of his little one-liners, like when his little infant or his little toddler was dancing, he looks like Nicki Minaj trying to shake her butt implants back into place.
It was so good.
Like, I wonder how much of that was ad-libbed, because I could see Chris Rock doing that in a bit.
Yeah,
You know?
seriously. But the other thing is that, like, I appreciate that joke, but it just, there were so many of them. Kevin James has some good ones too, but there was not a lot of focus. There's so many characters and not enough focus on them.
I liked the what is it called? I wrote down the name of it. The burp snart. The burp sneeze
snart.
fart.
Kevin James was so proud of that. Like, I'm a genius. Yeah. Well, here, let's focus on the family life for a little bit. Kevin James and his hot wife are raising their kid to be a dumbass because they don't want to hurt his self-esteem.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Really messed up, right? The kid's eating butter, and he's like, "Oh, this is the best yogurt I've ever seen. That's butter,
vanilla ice cream I've ever had."
Yeah, that's butter, boy." And he just lets them continue to eat.
Yeah.
And then the kid busts out a musical prodigy like Beethoven or some shit on the keyboard.
It was Chopin, actually.
Great.
Yeah.
The kid's a genius, right? The kid's a musical prodigy. And then Kevin James is like, "Oh yeah, my son's a genius. Well, I'm a genius too."
And then he
does
burp
the burp
sneezes
snarts.
fart.
What the fuck?
It's the thing is,
You
though,
weirdo.
It's the kind of movie that you kind of have to suspend all of that because of its stupidity.
It's a cartoon.
It really is,
It's a
honestly.
cartoon.
It really is. This is not a movie for the intellectuals.
I wrote down a bunch of times where people should have died.
Oh, yeah. Well, like when
Nick
Shaq threw the guy over the house.
Yes.
Yeah, instant death.
Instant death.
When he landed on the ground, either spinal fractures or, something else, but instant death.
You want to talk about spinal fractures? Nick Swardson driving a bus
Oh, God.
full of children on drugs, right? So then Adam Sandler takes over. It's like, "Oh, I'll drive. You
Because,
dry
of course,
out."
he has a CDL and he's approved to drive a bus.
Down. So they're driving along. They drop the kids off, and then Adam Sandler goes and picks up the rest of his friends. But then they string him up. They string Nick Swardson up by his ankles, so he's hanging from his ankles in the middle of the aisle. And then who lets him down? I think Kevin James comes on the bus and
I forget.
Somebody comes on the bus and
They just
lets
drop
go.
him on his head.
Drop him on his head. Broken his neck.
And then
Adam Sandler.
then he floors it. And the guy and he slides to the back and smacks his head against the rear door.
Paraplegic.
Right.
They just crippled Nick Swartzen for the rest of his life. But
Even though he was on so many drugs, he was practically crippled anyway.
so then they go to Kmart for some fucking reason.
I mean, it's amazing they found a Kmart that's still open.
I know,
Because
right?
Kmart, as far as I know, is going out of business.
It's 2013, so
Yeah.
Fucking who's still going to Kmart? But
Yeah, right.
still, they buy a raft and then they
oh,
drive.
that shit was funny.
They drive to the recital with the police escort. The police are just shooting guns out of the window with no regard.
Such
to,
a waste of ammo.
Yeah, waste of ammo. Meanwhile, Nick Swartzen's riding on top in a raft,
He gets knocked off the roof.
knocked off the roof, thrown into a store, lands on his head again, and rolls up to his feet. He's like, "Oh, that was awesome!"
Right.
Like dead.
This
You're dead.
This is there's a short to medium length list where you have to suspend your disbelief, and this movie is on that list.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not a movie for the intellectuals. It's not a movie for those that take cinema overly seriously. You know, it is a silly movie to watch when you're shit-faced, or it's a silly movie to watch when you've got a buzz and you just want to laugh, you know, or to have on in the background when you're hanging out with friends playing cards or doing whatever, and you just want to occasionally look up at the screen and have a laugh.
Sure. But is it problematic to laugh at the janitor coming in to take over the Pilates class and objectifying an entire class of women?
That was just weird.
That was weird.
And honestly, who better than to be weird than John Lovitz?
And then on top of that, so he's like telling them to shake their chests,
Yeah, that was
bend
weird.
over, slap their asses. Then he gets chased off, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's problematic, objectifying women that way.
Right.
Then the women turn around and start objectifying the dude.
Right.
The Rio instructor. What? Turn around is not fair play. It doesn't make it okay
Right.
that the women are objectified. Now it's not okay that the man gets objectified.
Hell
what
yeah.
the fuck is happening in this town?
I think it's just kind of like, it's kind of making fun of both. You know, it's making fun of the women objectifying men and men objectifying women.
It's all bad, man.
Oh, apparently there's an emergency alert. Mesquite, Texas. Nyla Crockett, 8-month black female, check local media. So, if you are in Mesquite, Texas, look out for that person, I guess.
Well, man, that's a
My watch was just vibrating incessantly, so I had to look at what this alert was, because apparently it was so important. I had to look at it.
well, yeah, man, that stuff's important.
I know.
I want to make sure that
Amber alerts are no
kids
joke.
are okay.
Right.
Speaking of making sure your kids are okay, how about Adam fucking Sandler
Breaking his
kid's leg
Oh
and
my
then
God.
lying about it
Oh, that was messed
to his
up.
wife?
And
Hospital.
I love how he was like, "You want me to accidentally break the other leg?"
The hospital scene is probably one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah.
The jokes were just flying.
Do you have any treatment for my wife staring at me? And he got
Yeah.
the Selma Hayek giving
Jack
him
Daniels.
the evil eye
He's like, yeah, Jack Daniels, and he's,
or Fireball.
or Fireball,
Yeah.
and then he brings out a flask and starts drinking.
I'm sure there are doctors out there that the kind of patients that they see need a little swig of something in between patients.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Listen, there is so much that I can say about this movie. I don't like it. I can sit here and rip it apart all damn night.
And by the way, before we get any further, I just want to give a shout out to all the doctors and medical professionals out there. You know, I appreciate you for what you do.
I appreciate you too.
You know, I know you are the unsung heroes of here, and you know, just want to throw that out there. But go ahead.
I'm just saying this movie is
Love to the doctors
is a
and the nurses.
series of disasters
Yeah.
strung together with a loose outline of a story, and I don't like it. There are some redeeming factors to it. This party, all this takes place in a day.
Right.
They wake up in the morning, no plan for a party, and there's a 80s style party just strung together and comes off as like the best party of the town
Right.
in less than 12 hours.
Yeah, and somehow they book a band to play in the
The
backyard.
Jay
and everything.
Giles Band.
Right.
Who Adam Sandler knows from his Hollywood days.
Yeah.
This feels slightly autobiographical.
Maybe. Autobiographical for who? Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Adam Sandler's the dude. They call him Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he went to Hollywood to got famous.
Did they say how he got famous? I didn't catch that.
They did not. No.
Okay. So we just know that somehow he moved out to Hollywood, got famous somehow through some means, and then he knew people in the Jay Giles Band, and he somehow got them to come with all their gear and everything and perform at his backyard party that night.
With less than 12 hours notice.
Right.
This party was Chris Rock's idea at Kmart.
Right.
No, on the school bus.
Right.
Anyway, there are some redeeming qualities of this movie.
Right.
Some of the
Like,
jokes
it's funny.
Some of the jokes are good. I just wish that they had slowed down a bit and let some of it marinate.
Well, now, what do you mean by marinate? I mean, are you talking about letting a few minutes go by or a few seconds go by after they tell a joke to kind of like give you a chance to laugh, kind of thing, or
I'm not saying
because
like
I didn't have a problem with the timing at all.
I thought there was too much. They crammed a lot.
Yeah,
They crammed a lot. Like the stuff that they did in the supermarket. Like you've got a joke with Adam Sandler with his daughter. They've got a couple jokes there. You're kind of building a relationship, but it's very shallow because it's just based off of wordplay and other things
Okay.
that are going on. But
Right.
then you got Sherry O'Terry coming in out of left
she
field.
wasn't in the store though, was she?
She was in the grocery store. Yeah, she came in and
But
gave
she
Adam
wasn't in the
Sandler
Kmart with all them, right?
No, I'm talking about the grocery store.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Kmart.
No, I'm talking about the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you confuse things. But Steve Buscemi, you find out that he's her wife, and then
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with the jokes themselves. There's a lot of them. They're rapid fire, and
Yeah.
it's easy to forget like how good some of the jokes are because they just get lost in the sauce. This movie was way too busy. And then at the parts where you did have some slowdown, it drug on unnecessarily. Perfect example: Suicide 35.
What?
Suicide 35. They're in that.
Oh, right.
They're
They're
at that.
doing the jump off the cliff.
They're going to jump off the cliff.
Right.
And then they came up there to jump off that cliff, right?
Right.
And then the frat boys show up, and then they're like, no, we're going to hassle you because you're old and you're stinky and blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, guys. Well, they go back and forth a little bit, and they argue, I guess, and then they go to leave.
Right.
And then they're like, frat guys are like, no, you're not leaving this way. You're going to leave by jumping off the cliff naked. Well, I mean, Adam Sandler and his crew came up to do that in the first place.
Well, not necessarily naked.
This is not necessarily naked, but they did get their clothes back.
In some form.
The whole mantra of this movie is like, oh yeah, summertime.
That just happened.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
It's too cheesy for me.
There was
too
the
cheesy.
cheese factor was there. I will totally agree with you. The cheese factor was there, and that's why I said at the very beginning, this is the perfect background movie. Because if you watch it from start to finish, kind of the way we did, it may leave you wanting more, or it may leave you, wishing there was something different, or it may leave you wishing you would watch something else. But that being the case, I have a question for you. I have only one thing to ask you today.
Sure.
And normally I do this at the beginning of the podcast, but why did you pick Grown Ups 2 and not Grown Ups 1?
Because this is the movie that I've seen before.
Okay.
And I thought it would be funny to do the sequel and not the first one without any background from of one.
Okay, so you haven't seen the first one either.
I have not seen the first one
Okay,
at all.
same here. So
Yeah.
I've only seen as of tonight, I've only seen Grown Ups 2.
You've never seen this movie before at all.
Correct. And I've just seen previews for Grown Ups 1 because I know that in Grown Ups 1, I know in the trailer there was mention of a pool scene where they were peeing in the pool and it turned blue and all that stuff. And then in Grown Ups 2, what we watched tonight, Shaq peed in the pool and it got all crazy blue and everything. So like, I think that was a little throwback to Grown Ups 1, but I'm kind of not like, I'm just a little bit curious to watch Grown Ups 1 to see how it connects to this one. Like, is it a continuation? Is it kind of based on the first one, but not a continuation? Are there different Grown Ups in the first one? I am curious. There's
a couple scenes where I thought there may have been a callback. So when Steve Buscemi was about to give the driver's ed test,
yeah,
and he's talking to Chris Rock, and he said something like, "Oh, how you doing, Steve Buscemi?" And Steve Buscemi is like, "Oh, I'm doing good. My arms aren't like this for a whole year, so I'm doing much better than I used to be." Like, so I'm wondering what that was about. Was Steve Buscemi in the first movie?
I have no idea.
Was his arms in a cast that made him
look
look like
getting arrested?
I don't know. I don't know how many callbacks were in the first movie, but I contend that this is a good enough movie to watch standalone,
sure,
without having to see the first one.
Right. So here's the question I want to pose to the viewers. The viewers, the listeners, those who listen to us. And by the way, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for those who do take a listen to us and subscribe to us every day. Whenever you subscribe to us.
You live every moment.
And you listen to us.
Subscribe every day.
That's right. And you listen to us every Thursday when our podcast came out, or Wednesday if you want to join our Patreon, which we'll talk about later.
Join our Patreon.
That's right. Damn it, I forgot what I was going to say. It must be the alcohol. Okay. No. So actually, no, I remember now. So the question I was going to ask those that are listening to this, if you've seen Grown Ups 1, do you recommend, and Grown Ups 2, do you recommend watching Grown Ups 1, or do you think is it better than Grown Ups 2? Is 2 better than 1? Was there a 3 actually, or no?
There's talks of 3.
Okay. So is 1 better than 2? Is 2 better than 1? Tell us what your thoughts are on the whole Grown Ups thing. Tweet us at Casual Movie Club. You can even message us on Instagram at Casual Movie Club. We definitely want to hear from you. Even if it doesn't look like we're posting that much, that's okay. We're still monitoring our social media channels and all that good stuff. So hit us up. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think.
Do it.
About Grown Ups 1 versus Grown Ups 2.
Do it.
That's right. I am like really comfortable right now.
Yeah, you look real comfy.
I am awesome.
You're like slouched down low in the chair.
Oh yeah.
So when I bought this movie a few weeks back in preparation of this being my surprise movie,
yeah,
I actually could only buy this in a 2-pack on
really?
iTunes.
So you got both 1 and 2?
I have 1 and 2.
Ah, okay. So are you going to watch 1 to see how it is? Or have you seen 1?
I don't want to watch 1.
Oh.
It's in my library. I don't want it to be in my library.
But you've spent money on it, so might as well watch it.
Well, it was $10 for 2 movies. So how am I
so it's $5. You spent $5 on the movie, so why not, right?
I don't like this movie.
Well, maybe you might like 1 better.
I highly doubt that.
Maybe not, I don't know.
I will eat these headphones.
Please don't.
All right. So that's I've got other things in my notes here, but I think we've pretty much covered it all. Kmart, why they go to Kmart. Nick Swartzen going to sleep in the bed is funny, and then getting up and pooping.
Nick Swartzen was like stoned or fucked up throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
It seemed, right? He was on something crazy. Yeah.
He was crazy. Stone Cold Steve Austin bullying Adam Sandler was pretty funny, I guess.
That was funny. It's funny because I was almost waiting for him to do the whole, no, don't hit me. And then I was like, nah, he's going to be all badass. And then he winds up going to do the whole, don't hit me. So, I can go either way with that one.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like, Kevin James lying to his hot wife about spending time with his mom.
What is that?
Why would you do that?
Why hide that from your wife?
Your wife is your partner. She's your...
But also, if you have a good relationship with your mother...
Own it.
Why wouldn't you say, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my mother today? Or we have a daily thing. We watch Days of Our Lives every day at 1 o'clock.
I have never understood that.
It's not that big a deal.
Something as innocuous as hanging out with your mother because she's good to you.
Right.
You want to hang out and watch your soaps, which that show with Ronaldo looked like a good show.
Oh yeah, and Ronaldo, by the way, looked like David Hasselhoff.
He did look
He
like
totally
Hasselhoff.
looked like David Hasselhoff. And honestly, like if my mother was still around, God rest her soul, I would love to hang out with her every day.
Yeah.
And watch like soap operas or something like that.
Live every moment.
That's right.
Love every day.
Carpe the fuck out of that DM.
I'm good. Are you ready to do numbers?
That would require me opening my eyes.
Don't do that.
I'm resting here, man. I am so comfortable. I'm leaned back in my chair. I'm slouched down. I got my face against my windscreen for the microphone. Like I am like 17 different kinds of comfortable, then.
Yeah.
But I should probably look at my notes because we're recording this, and I don't want to waste everybody's time.
Yeah, I wouldn't waste any time.
Okay. Oh, good. It's still recording. Okay. Okay. I mentioned this to you while we were watching. I think Tim Meadows' wife totally should have been Wanda Sykes.
I disagree.
That would have been perfect.
Wanda Sykes wasn't big till the 90s.
But that doesn't matter.
This is an 80s party. It does
But
matter.
I mean, it was an 80s party, but it was a 2000s movie.
What?
But like Wanda Sykes would have fit in so well with Chris Rock and Adam Sandler and all these like people we know. She's got the quick wit that I think would have been so funny to complement Tim Meadows' kind of mild mannered like everyman kind of approach. I think that would have been so much funnier. Let's see. I thought that Steve Austin kind of being the whole like punch me in the chin. I'll go down. Blah blah blah. I thought that was kind of honorable.
Yeah, it was great.
I respect that.
I like the message. Like, my boy's in Afghanistan, and I'd do the same thing for you if it was my boy. Blah blah blah. I thought it was really great.
That was
Wholesome.
Exactly. Okay, now I'm not comfortable anymore. Well, I'm comfortable, but not nearly as comfortable as it was before. I think I'm good. I think we could do numbers.
I'm good. Let's lock that in. So, what are we talking about? What are we talking about when we say let's do the numbers?
I know numbers are like 3, 6, 8, 5, 2, but like what do they have to do with our podcast?
Well, that's how we rate the reviews that we just gave this movie. And you can find that at casualmovie.com/leaderboard.
Don't you mean casualmovieclub.com?
Did I not say that?
No.
Have I been stumbling this whole time?
Yeah.
Damn, blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah, or maybe you need some more shots. We are talking about casualmovieclub.com. Click on the leaderboard button. But why do that when you could click the Patreon button? Don't be scared, by the way. I know when you click on the Patreon button, it says we have 0 patrons right now. Don't be scared to be the first one. You can give us $1 a month. That's okay. Give us as much as you want or as little as you want. But check out our Patreon because you can get the podcast a day early. I almost said merchandise, but you can also buy merchandise. That's separate. But Patreon, you get the podcast a day early. You also get other perks that are outlined on the Patreon site. So check that out. Give us $1, $10, $5,000, whatever you like every month. We would love you forever. So check out patreon.com. You can help us keep the podcast going, keep the movies coming, keep the lights on and the hosting up because we are 100% self-funded right now. So any help you can give us would be great. But if you didn't click the Patreon button, if your mouse slips to the merch button, that's cool too because you can buy t-shirts, hoodies, phone cases, notebooks, lots of fun stuff that have the Casual Movie Club logo or some variety of that. So you can rep your favorite movie podcast because even though there are 10 million podcasts out there that are about movies, this one's the most fun, right?
Yeah. This
Absolutely.
is the best.
It's the most casual.
So casual.
That's right. So rep your favorite movie podcast with some of our merch. But if you do wind up clicking the leaderboard button, you will see a bunch of numbers on our website. What kind of numbers are they going to see, Brian?
The numbers are 5 to 6 categories. Not 5 to 6. It's
6.
just 6 categories. And they are as follows. The first is acting. How well did the actors convey the story? How believable were they? The next category is script. Tell us about the script, John.
How well was their dialogue written? Did it seem like a believable story? Did it seem like the lines that were given to those particular characters were believable for the plot that we're watching a movie about? Did it seem like it was a good storyline? And then as far as that storyline goes, we have the presentation, which is all about
the editing and visual effects usage. This is things that appear to have green screen. Is this CGI? Goodies for your eyes? Were there too much? Were there not enough visual effects? And then the next section after that is music and sound.
It's the soundtrack as a whole, the sound effects, the score. We talked about the goodies for your eyes, but these are the goodies for your ears. Sorry, was that creepy?
I don't think so.
It might have been a little. I'm sorry if that was a little creepy.
Didn't feel creepy.
But, the goodies for your ears. Because your ears have to love it as much as your eyes do, right?
Correct.
And then while we're on that subject, the uniqueness factor. What's that, Brian?
That is, has this been done before? How similar is this movie to previous movies? And that includes things like themes, overarching story, but it's really relegated to the year this movie came out and before.
So like tropes and stuff too?
Yeah.
All right. And then we got one more thing on there. It's the engagement factor. Does this movie keep you engaged? Are you glued to the screen? Are you dying to know what Steve Buscemi's going to do next with his next driving student? Or would you rather be
weeding Twitter
or downloading some other random social networking app that's not going to take off? That being said, I think, Brian, you started out a lot of the ratings, so I'm going to start this one.
Please.
So, in the beginning of the episode, we kind of talked about, the whole did you like it thing, and, for the mood I was in, for my disposition, I had a pretty busy day at work. I was kind of looking forward to, hanging out with you, Brian, and doing the podcast and that whole thing. So I was kind of, had a little bit of Fireball to drink tonight. So I was kind of relaxed, and I was in the perfect mindset for this movie. I'm not normally the type of audience for this movie, but I was in the mood for this type of audience. So again, I have to say thank you for making a good pick tonight. As far as the movie itself goes, I can't be too harsh on it because I did really enjoy it. Is it an Oscar nominate, an Oscar worthy production? No. Is it is it the best acting I've seen in a movie? No. Is it enjoyable and like fun to watch? Absolutely. So for me, the acting is going to be a solid 3 because I think what they had to work with, they did a good job. And those of you who've listened to previous episodes of the podcast, you know that I'm big on chemistry. I really like the chemistry between the actors, and although the cast was pretty diverse in terms of, A-list, B-list, whatever list celebrities, I thought they acted well together. So I'm giving it a solid 3. It was good for what it was.
Nice.
And you, Ryan?
Well, I was reading the IMDb trivia facts, and I found that this movie was shut out at the Razzies. They were nominated for maybe like a dozen Razzies, give or take some, and they didn't win a single Razzie.
Well, that's good. So it means that were movies that were worse than this one.
There were.
There we go.
That being said, there was a lot of overacting, specifically in the opening scene with Adam Sandler over-enunciating every word to his wife. I know she's sleeping and blah, 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 but the kids were actually decent actors also.
Yeah.
But I didn't like a lot of the performances. I didn't hate them, but this felt like a 2 to me.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
It felt like a 2.
Okay. I respect that. And while you're on the subject, while you're in the hot seat, with your bizarro rating system and waiting system, go ahead and give your script rating.
Well, I stand by what I said earlier when this feels like a just haphazard jokes or scenes just kind of loosely strewn together by a loose outline. This did not feel cohesive. It barely felt cohesive as a story.
Really?
It did, yeah.
I mean, to me, it just came across like, a series of things that happened over the course of a day in these people's lives.
I didn't get that impression. This felt like situational comedy that was stitched together to tell a movie story.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I don't want to be so harsh as to give it a 1 because it's not absolutely horrible, but this felt like a 2 to me.
Okay. I don't agree with everything. I can understand where you're going with this. I think some of the jokes were really funny. I think some of the, I think there was just barely enough character development. And when I say barely, I'm talking absolute bare minimum, maybe even like a scotch below it. And whoever was grading the amount of believability, just let it slide. But there was just enough character development and believability to know kind of who was who and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it a 4? No. Is it a 3? No. For me, it's a 2.75 because I did like the jokes and I did like the overall, I thought it was funny. I really thought it was genuinely funny. And again, like I said, I'm not the target audience for this, but I still enjoyed it. That being the case, the presentation, I'm just going to kind of throw this out there. It's also going to be a 2.75 for me because I think some of the visual effects, they just completely failed. Some of, I think there was, I don't necessarily I didn't spot any green screen specifically, but I know that some of the, like the paint being poured on the principal, that looked fake. Some of the other things just looked fake. I did like how they edited the older guys jumping off the top of that cliff there. They were very deliberate and pretty, their editing choices were pretty solid. So,
they were hiding dicks.
Of course. But, they were hiding dicks, but they were also hiding stunt doubles. So,
yes,
I think the way they did that was good enough. So, I got to take off a little bit for that, but a 2.75 is I think fine for what this movie is.
Yeah. To build off of that scene that you last mentioned, it really rubbed me the wrong way when you had the top down view, the stunt double jumps off the cliff, and then there's a front facing shot where it's from the chest up of the guys, and they're kind of like screaming and waving their arms around back and forth.
That was unnecessary.
A split second of that was way too much. They did it for every single guy who jumped off that cliff.
Right.
Hated it.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
The tire rolling down the streets with Higgins in it, or David Spade.
Right.
When he would have died.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Neurological disaster right there.
Yeah. That was just gross. The editing was gross on that.
It looked fake too. Total CGI.
So fake. The paint pouring on the principal. I'm glad you brought that up because that was in my notes.
Yeah.
That looked terrible. Just pour some blue water on the guy. What are you doing?
Or watercolor paint, water-based paint.
Yes. Why do you have to edit that?
Hey, Blue Man Group does it every night. So you can use whatever blue paint is used for them because they wash it off every night, obviously.
The deer that jumps around and even the dog. When Nick Swartzen was making out with the dog, they were they were using a CGI model dog for that and a puppet. It was sloppy. I hated it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't absolutely terrible. So my score is a 2 even.
Okay. I may do a take backsies to that because you did bring up some compelling points. But while you're in the hot seat, while you're in the seat for bringing up compelling points, why don't you tell me about the sound of the movie? What'd you think of the sound?
I really liked the soundtrack.
Really?
I liked the sound editing. The effects were actually really good. I want to bring it back to the tire. The tire rolling down the street and it knocking into everything and knocking over people in the playground.
Yeah.
All of those children would have died, by the way, but the sound effects were really well done.
Oh, and the tire hitting Shaq would have easily like shattered his ribs or something.
Pink Mist.
Yeah.
But I liked all the song choices. Maybe I'm a sucker for REO Speedwagon. I didn't think I was.
Hey, I love REO Speedwagon.
I really liked everything they picked. Jay Giles' band was fantastic. The soundtrack was fantastic. Maybe this is take backsies worthy, but I'm going to start off with a 3 even.
Okay. I was originally going to give it a 3, but I'm going to take a little bit off. It's going to be 2.75 for me, only because during the big sort of battle scene at the end, the frat people versus the frat boys versus the old people.
Yeah.
There was the mix during that was awful. I thought there should have been, like you figure the two sides are running at each other. You should hear, a lot of screaming. There should be a loud din of, a bunch of that superimposed. There was none of that, and it almost felt eerily, weirdly silent. Or it was the mix was just completely off. Because I almost want to say I heard like war sound in the background, but it was mixed really far down, and that just felt odd to me. So the soundtrack part of that, the ear part of it, it distracted me from what was going on. So, I got to take points off for that. I really did like the music choices. I thought the rest of the movie seemed fine. Sound effects and everything were good. Some of the fart noises were obvious that they weren't coming out of those actors' assholes, but that's probably not a big deal. So I'm going to stay with 2.75 for that.
That burp snort, man.
The burp snort, yeah. I'm 38. I don't think I've ever burp snorted in my entire life.
I mean, I want to try when I go home, but I'm going to want to wait till I'm on the toilet just in case.
Let me know how that goes.
Okay.
Uniqueness, I am going to go... so my uniqueness score is actually going to be a 1.75.
Tell me more.
The reason being is this reminded me of a bunch of movies. It reminded me of American Pie. It reminded me of... the other sort of Happy Madison movies, Happy Gilmore, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, in that same sort of genre of comedy, and that sort of thing. So a lot of the tropes we saw in this movie were not unique. The sort of zany actions of what happens to a random group of people in a single day, and they get into some shenanigans and everything. We've seen that in countless other movies before. So, I'm giving it a 1.75 for uniqueness because it's not even quite a 2. It's not as bad as a 1. I feel like that's even being a little generous, but it's going to be a 1.75 for me.
That score makes me happy because I didn't know where you were going to land on this.
Yeah.
A couple other movies that really echo that sentiment that you just gave us is Lethal Weapon 4.
Really?
Surprisingly, Lethal Weapon 4. But think of the theme of this movie, Grown Ups 2. These guys are getting out of their prime, right? They're getting too old for this shit. And that came up a couple times with fighting the frat boys on top of Suicide 35, at the house party at the end. They're getting too old for this shit.
They didn't actually say that,
They didn't, though, but that was the theme. That was implied. That was implied. That's what they're going for. But also, last day of school, beginning of summer, Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
This felt like a rehash of...
Like an adult version of Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this felt like.
Yeah.
I was going to go with a 2 even on uniqueness.
Yeah.
And that feels high. That feels high to me.
I agree.
Based off of what you've said. So this might not be a take back just because I'm changing it.
It's not a take back because we haven't finished the category yet.
I'm gonna drop it to a 1. Uniqueness is a 1 even.
A 1 flat.
1 flat.
Wow. You don't seem like you're much for decimals.
If I do a decimal, it's gonna be a 0.5.
You're not like a quarter decimal.
I've done quarter decimals before, but it just doesn't feel right to me.
I'm telling you, I will never understand.
I'm basing it off of a star rating. This is like stars. And
yeah, but you can do quarter of it. I mean, this is Casual Movie Club. You do whatever you want.
You can do core stars, but I feel...
You can do 1.86. I don't give a shit. Anyway, engagement factor. What say you about that?
it's hard for me to watch this movie. It was really hard for it. But I did snort a couple times. I did blow air out of my nose a few times.
Oh yeah. I can vouch for that.
So it engaged me a bit, but when you say background movie, this is a movie that it would engage me in the sense of, why is this on? Can we turn this off?
Oh, really?
Why is this on?
Wow.
But if it is on, it kind of has that car accident or that train wreck kind of quality to it where you can't look away. So I'm engaged as far as a 2.
Okay, that's fine. So this was my first watch of this movie, and I'm assuming this was probably your 6th or 7th.
A little lower, maybe 4th or 5th.
Okay, so and again, those of you who have listened to past episodes, you know that no matter how many times he explains it, I will never understand Brian's weighting system when it comes to his scores. Because he could say it's amazing and give it a 1. So
that's never happened.
I have the floor. So, because I've heard him speak highly of movies, and he's like, it's a 3. I'm like, you just called it amazing, and you gave it a 3. It's middle of the road. Anyway, because I love poking fun at you. Sure. At your rating system. Sure. I'm giving engagement factor a 3 simply because, like I said before, I'm kind of standing behind this being a perfect background movie. I think it's one that you could throw on there and, there are things that will grab you, scenes that'll grab you during the movie that may make you wonder what's going to happen next, but at the same time, it will keep you entertained pretty much whenever you're looking at the screen. So I think that merits a 3. A 3 for me. So that being said, Brian, do you have any take-backsies that you'd like to do, or do you want to lock them in?
Oh, man. I think the only take-backsies I would have done was uniqueness. I think I put music and sound as a possible take-backsies, but no, I stand by my scores.
All right. So you're locking them in. I'm locking mine in. So we're confirming the scores are locked in.
Oh, they're locked in, baby.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, adults, kids, frat boys, whoever, Grown Ups 2, 2013. I think this is the first time we've reviewed a sequel and not the original.
Yes, that was by design.
So there you go. Okay. So, Grown Ups 2, acting 2.5, script 2.38. Presentation 2.38, music and sound 2.88, uniqueness 1.38. Lots of 8s here. Engagement factor 2.50 for a total average of 2.3.
Oh!
3.
Oh!
233. So right above the lake house, right below Knock Knock.
I like that it's splitting up Keanu's movies.
That's right. So what? So you based on our ratings, Stop Where My Mom Will Shoot, Knock Knock, and Speed 2 are better movies than this one.
I would watch those movies again.
Same here. So I'm cool with it. I'm totally cool with it.
I would not watch Wild Wild West again, though.
I know you love that movie secretly.
I hate that movie.
Probably as much as you love 47 Meters Down.
Oh, that's
which we need to do the sequel to.
That's so great that it's at the bottom of the list.
I know. Now here's what I wonder: if we do 47 Meters Down uncaged, will that beat 47 Meters Down for the bottom slot?
It's got to.
If
Tina's rating with us, it will.
What do you think? Should I see if she'll do it?
I would rather not.
Maybe not this soon, because we just did 47 Meters Down a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, let's at the earliest.
We need to let her
season.
recover. We need to let her recover.
Yeah, at the earliest next season.
All right. So, but that being said, feel free to tweet us or Instagram message us at Casual Movie Club if there's movies you'd like to see us do. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Now, Brian, we haven't figured out what we're doing next week, have we?
No.
We probably should figure that out or maybe we just want to surprise the viewers.
Why don't we surprise
listener?
the viewers?
I keep saying viewers, but yeah. Well, I mean, if they watch us on YouTube, it's just a static picture of us, so they could view that for an hour and listen to us talk. But
I'd view that for an hour.
Me too. Yeah. So next week will be a surprise for you, but not a surprise for us. We're going to pick something. We'll do it. And we will hang with y'all then, because all are welcome in the Casual Movie Club.
All are welcome.
Everybody's welcome. You're even more welcome and appreciated if you join our Patreon. But either way, we will welcome people with open arms. And that being said, anything else you want to add?
Thanks a lot.
All right. And
one thing I want to add.
Yes.
Live every moment. Love every day. Because your precious time will slip away.
Like the phone that just fell out of your pocket. So we're about to hit 1 hour in 2, 1. Bye.